Okay, this is derivation 338. So we'll make an indirect assumption. Actually, yeah, we'll do this both directly and indirectly. I think this is actually might be easier directly, but well, not with the techniques we have, no. So we want to do this indirectly, yeah. All right, so we have for all x, not some y, fx if and only if gy, and we can predict that when we do qn after we instantiate, it's going to move, that's going to turn into another universal, and then we're going to have a negated biconditional. So we'll have, what we're going to end up with is this. Nope, let's with this. But we don't quite have that yet. What we have right now is, oh, didn't want that. But that's okay. What we have is this. So now let's bring in the premise. So we could instantiate line 2 to x, or to whatever we wanted, but there's really no reason to instantiate it right now because we don't have any other free variables to work with, and line 2 by itself is not going to get us anywhere. If we instantiate 2 and then we instantiate the quantifier again, what we end up with is a biconditional, and that biconditional isn't really going to give us anything that will interact with 3. Let's look at that. So we do this, and we can instantiate 4. We might as well instantiate it to the same thing. Instantiate the y to the same thing, and we can do that. But this by itself isn't going to interact with line 3, so there's not really much point in doing that. So instead, we want to use line 3. We want to get those existential quantifiers out and then use them, and then instantiate line 2. So we're going to do a subderivation with line 3. And this is basically a chapter 2 strategy. You have a biconditional. How do you use it? Break it up. So let's try to show some xfx. So we'll assume ID qn. Oh, no, that's not what we want to do quite yet. So we have not some xfx, and we want to use this with 3. Okay, so now we have both sides of a 3, and we want to quantifier negate that, and we should quantifier negate 5 as well. Okay, now we have quantifiers, and we can start instantiating them. To what? Well, it doesn't matter, but we want to instantiate them all to the same thing. So let's instantiate them all to t. Well, we want to instantiate 6 to t, and we also want to instantiate 2 to t, and we can go ahead and qn that, and instantiate that to t as well, and nb that. Okay, so it doesn't, at this point, we're at this situation where we have existential quantifiers now, and we have a bunch of quantifiers, so we want to start instantiating, because what we're going to get is going to interact if they have the same variables, and it doesn't matter which variable we use when we instantiate all these universals. So we'll do 9, 10 BP, and that's a contradiction with ft and not ft. Now we have 4. Now 4 we want to use it with BP with line 3, but we also want to instantiate both of these lines. Let's make sure these are new variables. Yes, they are. Okay, so we've instantiated both these existentials, and now we want to go back and instantiate 2 again, because we have new variables. So ui to I, qn, ui to, oh, let me back up. I did that a little bit too quickly. So we're going to instantiate 2, and we need to instantiate it to a variable. So which variable, I or j? Well, the universal controls the fx, and what term shows up in f here? I. And so we instantiate it to I, so that we'll have the interaction between this fi and that fi. And then we qn, and now we're going to instantiate this, and this controls the g, the variable, the y shows up next to g in a g predication, and here we have gj, so we want to instantiate that to j. Okay, and again, we are good to go. We're done. Okay, so that's 338. And this is just a matter of seeing, okay, before I instantiate line 2, I want to work with line 3. And it's biconditional, so I want to show the component. And then you need to say, okay, I can use this, 5, with both 3 with BP, but then I can also qn it and then instantiate it. And similarly here, okay, I can use some xfx with 3 to get some xgx, and I can instantiate gx, but you can also instantiate fx. So that's 38.